Manitoba. He has attended and graduated from programs at the University of British Columbia and the University of Alberta, as well as the University of Victoria. He holds a master's degree in Indigenous governance. Partially finished with a doctorate, and we hope he finishes his doctorate, and he has successfully supervised one master's student to completion, and has traveled and studied internationally, exploring Indigenous rights and development. As a professional, he has led Aboriginal natural resource development initiatives in the Northern Rockies and has spoken extensively on the Indigenous rights, culture, consultation, development, and nation building. Currently, as I stated before, he's a senior policy analyst for the National Aboriginal Forestry Association, which I am a member of. I represent British Columbia, and I certainly appreciate all the work NAPFA has done. And I pass the presentation to Mr. Bombay.
All right, you can talk on the speakerphone there, Harry.
Yeah. Hi, thanks a lot, Terry. Harry Bombay here. As Terry mentioned, I'm the Executive Director of NAPFA. We've been around for a while as an organization. NAPFA is a First Nation controlled organization. It's non-profit, non-governmental. We basically exist to promote First Nation participation in the forest sector in Canada, supporting broad principles around First Nations forest use, sustainable forest management, and a land ethic, I guess, that's been generally put forth by First Nations from across the country in terms of their use of the land. So basically, NAPFA is a research and advocacy organization. We support First Nations in various parts of the country on request. We work jointly with them on a whole range of issues. We've been working quite a bit lately in the last couple of years on forest tenure issues across the country jointly with First Nation organizations. This has become an issue so that will essentially have to be addressed in supporting any type of initiative that First Nations may have with respect to forest resource use, including the topic of this webinar, or the development of forest carbon credits. Basically, NAPFA, in terms of our work here, we sort of look at the forest sector in a broad sense in terms of national issues. We noticed, like for example, with the downturn in the industry now, that there's fundamental change occurring in the forest sector. The shifting of priorities is towards the bioeconomy. I mean, often referred to as the green economy or low carbon or conservation economy. But basically, we're talking about the use of biological resources and bioprocesses for more sustainable and eco-efficient provision of goods and services. And I guess that's where forest carbon fits in. So basically, what we do is try to provide a forum for First Nations to engage in the range of issues that might be encompassed there. Now, our work to date on the bioeconomy has not been that extensive. We've written several small articles on it so far. We've not engaged the First Nation communities out there on specific issues. We are coming out with a paper in the near future on the bioeconomy and its implications for First Nations across the country. But basically, as we say it, the transition in the sector right now is towards biofuels, bioenergy, sort of other types of forest bioproducts around nutraceuticals, pharmaceuticals, other types of use. And some people even consider NTFPs to be a forest bioproduct, though forest bioproduct is basically something that is conceived to be new, but a new vein of economic activity, but in fact, we all know that First Nations have depended on forest byproducts for centuries, and we continue to use and sustain their use. And of course, that remains our objective in all of this. So basically, forest carbon trading and First Nation carbon rights as we go forward into this new forest economy is going to be a major issue for First Nations across the country. What we're going to do today here from NAFA's office is provide sort of an overview of some of the work that Brad's been doing on the bioeconomy and the paper I just mentioned. Basically, what he's going to do is give you a context for the bioeconomy, some of the drivers behind carbon markets, linking that to the rights and policy context. We're going to look a little bit at carbon market directions, First Nations carbon recap, sort of a recap of what we're doing, and some closing thoughts. So basically, that's about all I'm going to have to say. I'm going to turn it over to Brad, and certainly Brad is more on top of the issues and haven't just drafted a paper on this matter. So, Brad, over to you,
Okay.
and I shall listen intently.
Okay.
Thanks, guys.
Okay, thank you for that, Harry. This is Brad Young. I'd like to thank all the organizers, the funders, the leadership, elders, men, women, children, visitors from other continents into this web space, and I guess representatives of other organizations and non-Indigenous governments. Thank you for the opportunity to speak today, Vice Chair TG, and also the other organizing First Nations and entities. So Harry has basically set the table for the presentation today, and in terms of providing this broad, diversifying direction where the forests are going, we can drill down a little bit deeper into where this carbon idea comes from, and what it means for First Nations, because the implications are fairly far-reaching, and I would like to applaud the organizers here for being right on top of it, and being, I guess, one of the major forums for the emergent Indigenous voice on these very important matters. So, getting into the presentation, there will be a section on the bioeconomic context. We'll move into market drivers, then go into rights and policy, and then talk about the specifics of the markets, and then move into the closing, into our closing thoughts, and give you a recap. Okay, the bioeconomy, as we are, I guess, encountering it in the literature, is basically an economy where there's a focus on the green and renewable side of this emergent global economy. And of course, central to this are the natural processes and the renewable resources that would go into this system in terms of feedstock and in terms of processes and unlocking value. We've identified 3 broad areas within this bioeconomy in terms of industrial bioproduction, conservation, and ecological services. In terms of ecological services, which we view carbon to be a part of, you have the various natural processes that occur on Mother Earth, from hydrology to soil formation to birds and the bees, basically, and the air that we live and breathe with, and that we share with all of creation. The list in terms of natural processes could almost be endless here, as our knowledge, as we understand it from the Indigenous point of view, is, we're always learning from the natural world. That being said, carbon